Speeding up the new Finch West LRT. Council approves a motion at their last meeting of the year to give Line 6 signal priority.
And the fire that has been burning for more than 2 weeks at 2 condo buildings in Thorncliffe Park is out. But residents still don't know if they'll be back home for the holidays.
And hospitals reporting a serious rise in flu cases in Ontario.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Phil Perkins. You're watching Live at 5, our top story. Finally, an update to this. A stubborn fire that has forced residents out of 2 Thorncliffe Park condo buildings is now out, but still no timeline for when they're going to be back home.
CP24 CJ Liu has the latest. This is after an update from city officials today and joins us live. CJ.
That's right, Bakari and Phil. We got a crucial update this morning from fire officials. After 17 days, the stubborn fire that's been burning in between the walls of these 2 Thorncliffe Park buildings is finally out. But we're learning that some of the units have suffered substantial damage, and there is still no clear timeline on when people can return to their homes. Fire crews were first called here on November 27th to 11 Thorncliffe Park Drive and 11 over 21 Overley Boulevard. And the difficulty with this fire was the location. It was burning in a narrow gap in between the walls, so it was nearly impossible to access. Fire Chief Jim Jessup has called it the most complex fire they've dealt with. They had to use unconventional methods, including having to cut into the walls of some of the units, drilling into it to get to that fire. So when residents do return home, some people's home won't look the same. Here's more from the fire chief on how they were able to extinguish this fire.
Through their continued dedication and problem solving, all suppression objectives have now been achieved. The fire has been fully extinguished. Throughout the response, our multidisciplinary team of suppression firefighters and engineers employed several suppression methods, each contributing to the reduction of heat, smoke, and carbon monoxide levels while limiting further risk.
This is more devastating because I don't have a home.
We're actually fortunate in the fact that we had somewhere to go in addition to the hotel. I know some of the walls have been kicked in, there are holes. There's a fair bit of work to be done for the person, for the unit to be livable again.
And there you were hearing from some of the residents who have been evacuated. Over 400 units were evacuated. More than 200 people have been living in hotels for the last 2.5 weeks, getting support from the Canadian Red Cross. And tonight, still no timeline on if they can make it home for the holidays. But when they do return, fire officials say it won't happen all at once. It will be a phased approach. Engineers are checking out the building right now to make sure it is structurally sound. Fire crews are still here trying to restore any fire alarms, life systems. So Phil and Bakari, still a long road ahead. Fire crews are still trying to figure out what exactly started this fire, but we did get a major update today that the fire is finally extinguished.
Yeah, it looks like we're heading at least in the right direction, albeit slowly. Thanks so much, CJ. Well, an industrial fire in Scarborough is happening this afternoon.
Chopper 24 was over the scene. This is on Milne Avenue and the Danforth Road and Warden Avenue area. Firefighters responded right around 4 o'clock this afternoon to the business. The fire involved roofing material. No injuries are reported. And a pedestrian's in critical condition. This is after being hit by a vehicle in Mississauga.
And Peel police say that a tow truck hit a man near Dixie and Rathburn Road just before 4 o'clock this afternoon. Officers say the man has life-threatening injuries. The driver remained on scene. That investigation is ongoing. And Toronto City Council meeting for the last time this year, and transit, #1 priority on the agenda. Councillors have now voted to speed up the new Finch West LRT.
CP24's Arda Zakarian continues our live coverage from City Hall. Arda.
Transit, yes, number one priority, and priority signals is what was on the agenda today. So that's Mayor Olivia Chow's motion so that the Finch West LRT and the Eglinton Crosstown LRT both have priority signals, allowing them to move more quickly. Now, the Finch West LRT opened about a week and a half ago. Everybody was excited, anticipating that this was going to be the answer to our congestion problem, or just in one area at least. However, when it opened, it was slow, very slow. Buses were anecdotally going faster than the Finch West LRT. People even were running alongside the Finch West LRT and were able to run faster. So, of course, this was not the intention of having a new transit line. So something needed to be done, and Mayor Olivia Chow's answer is to have priority signals and using the lessons that are learned from the Finch West LRT and applying them also to the Eglinton Crosstown, making sure those same kinks are not going to happen there as well. Here's more from some city councillors.
We were so excited to open Line 6, and it became immediately clear it wasn't ready to run. And we've had problem after problem. People being able to walk faster than the line, it's totally embarrassing. We've waited many, many years for Eglinton Crosstown, and I'm going to speak up at council and say, do not open it until it's ready to make transit riders' life better. If it isn't faster than the bus, it's not ready.
The reasonable amount of time to implement a change like this has to do with making sure that it's going to actually work. We can make promises, but we have to deliver on them. And I think that we delegate that work to staff, but I can assure you that for all of us on the TTC board, certainly you heard from the mayor, this is her top priority. From the TTC chair, top priority is to everybody get together and make sure that we're working well, but it does require the city, TTC, and Metrolinx together. And I think what you're seeing now is an alignment of forces where we're looking for solutions, and that's what we're all going to be searching and chasing.
And this is the final time that council is meeting before the winter break, today, tomorrow, possibly on Thursday. But I have to tell you something. City council is meeting now in closed session, which means we got to get out of here. So we're going to send it back to you in studio.
Continuing live coverage from City Hall, CP24's Arthur Zakarian. Well, a Toronto man who frequently races the TTC has easily outpaced the Finch West LRT.
Yeah, and it wasn't close. It was about a couple minutes, which is an eternity in the running world. Mac Bauer began the race at the end of the line at Humber College Station, where a friend was on the train. He then ran the entire 10.3-kilometer, 18-stop route to Finch West Station, arriving 18 minutes before his friend on the LRT. Bauer joined CP24 Breakfast to talk about it all.
It's honestly a little disappointing. I think the people up there are so disconnected from the city with regards to transit. They've historically had a bus and have had these big promises that they're going to be more connected, which, you know, opens up a lot of opportunity for them to either work downtown and not take 2 hours to get down there. And those promises maybe haven't become true. And a lot of that is maybe all the bureaucracy behind having just signal priority getting turned on. Yeah. I spoke with some people in the mayor's office, and they say they're fighting for it, but there's just so many steps that it has to go through in order to just get turned on. The infrastructure is there, but we're not supporting it as a city, and it's like, why?
Well, the $3.7 billion light rail line opened December 7th, about 2 years after it was originally expected to begin operating. Well, cycling advocates, they're urging City Council to embrace a bike lane network plan that they call a win-win solution.
Well, staff are recommending a plan that would build over 20 kilometers of new bike lanes, including on Trethewey Drive, Rathburn Road, and Kingston Road. None of the proposed bike lanes would require removing a lane of vehicular traffic in compliance with provincial legislation. Now, city staff says that for the most part, this will be accomplished by narrowing some lanes and removing some on-street parking. Advocates say the plan would make city streets safer.
The designs are at a fairly high level of detail right now, and essentially For the most part, the city have kind of fallen on a couple different solutions. So where there's space, they've been able to build the bikeways in the boulevards, so basically off-road, and create like a multi-use trail. And that's a really great solution in suburban areas where you have that road space. And then, of course, with both Rathburn and Trethewey, what the city is proposing is kind of a bi-directional bikeway. So that's where just one side of the road will have a bike lane that'll kind of go in both directions.
Right now, when I walk, when I cycle, when I take transit, if I need to go out, I go west. I don't go east. And a safer Kingston Road will connect Toronto and Scarborough and make us one city in reality as we are on a map. It will make it safer for road users, all road users, and it's a win-win situation.
Total cost of the plan, which also includes other road safety improvements, is over $30 million. All right, it is 5:10 right now. Feels like -8. Watching live at 5.
And coming up, a Georgetown man pleads guilty to an impaired driving crash. It killed 3. Peel police are asking for help from the public as they search for a suspect in a Brampton shooting.
Investigators released images of the vehicle they believe to be connected to the shooting in the area of Martinburn Road and Countryside Drive around 3:45 in the morning on December 3rd. No one was injured. The vehicle is described as a newer model black Honda Civic. Police are also asking residents in the area of Countryside Drive and Goreway Drive to review any security or dash cam footage that they have between 3:30 and 4 a.m. December 3rd. Well, Halton police say a massage therapist has been charged with sexual assault.
69-year-old Lee Ming-Kyu, who's also known as Leslie, is accused of sexually assaulting a woman at B Pampered Spa in Burlington. The accused was arrested yesterday and has been charged with sexual assault. Police believe there could be more victims. Well, a man's been sentenced in a deadly 2024 hit and run in Vaughan.
York Regional Police say 25-year-old Harnoor Chan was given a 5-year sentence and 15-year driving ban on May 21st of last year. Police respond to a crash at Martin Grove and Jackman Crescent. A 16-year-old on a mini bike was struck and killed by a white Mercedes, which fled the scene. Shortly after the crash, police were called to a nearby location where the driver of the Mercedes reported that his vehicle had been carjacked. Officers determined that the carjacking was a false report and the complainant was identified as the driver involved in the hit and run. And a Georgetown man has pleaded guilty to impaired driving charges in a crash that killed 3 siblings in Etobicoke.
Ethan Lehoulier is set to be sentenced in February for the crash that killed 15-year-old Ramon Lavina, his 13-year-old brother Jace, and their 6-year-old sister Maya. It happened the night of May 18th at the Highway 401 exit to Renforth. That's when Lehoulier lost control of his vehicle and slammed into a minivan. 3 people, including the victim's mother and 10-year-old sibling, survived. Well, hospitals, they're reporting a serious rise in influenza across the province.
Yeah, it's run through my house, that's for sure. The Ontario Hospital Association says while COVID and RSV, they're fairly stable, influenza cases are up significantly. In East Ontario, the flu is being blamed for the deaths of 3 children this month. The Hospital Association is joining medical officers of health and urging people to get vaccinated as soon as possible. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Isaac Bogosh joined us and says the flu is more dangerous than people think.
What it does reinforce is that we know influenza is a very rough virus. We know it can pack a punch. The technical term is it's virulent. It sadly kills about 400 to 500,000 people per year on the planet. About 2,500 to 3,500 Canadians will succumb to this illness this year. And we know it's most severe in the youngest cohorts and the oldest cohorts and people who are immunocompromised or have underlying medical conditions.
Health officials say that the early spike in cases, it comes at the worst time as hospitals are already overwhelmed with tighter staffing over the holidays. It's 5:14, 3 below zero. This is Live at 5.
The Trump administration is expanding its travel ban to include 5 more countries and impose new limits on others. Welcome back. Canada's spy agency says it sees no indication of a specific threat on Canadian soil following the mass shooting at a Hanukkah celebration in Australia, but also says that that one cannot be actually ruled out.
An intelligence brief prepared by the Integrated Threat Assessment Center says there's a realistic possibility of a violent extremist attack taking place in Canada, including one targeting the Jewish community. The briefing says the agency cannot discount the possibility of violence from a lone actor or small group, which could happen with little or no warning. And people returned to Bondi Beach in Australia to pay tribute to the 15 people killed in the mass shooting on Sunday. More than 1,000 people gathered outside Bondi Pavilion for the second night of Hanukkah. There are 25 people still being treated in hospitals. This is after the massacre, 10 of them in critical condition.
And police have taped off the house of the two suspected gunmen in the attack. The father and son were shot by police. The 50-year-old father died at the scene. 24-year-old son remains in a coma in hospital. Australia's Prime Minister and police say early investigations suggest the mass shooting was inspired by Islamic State ideology. One of the suspected shooters had previously been investigated by Australia's main domestic spy agency. And another story of heroism that has emerged from the terror at Bondi Beach, but this one had a tragic ending. This video shows a couple confront one of the gunmen during the attack. The man tackled him and both fell on the ground. The man managed to wrestle the gun from the shooter's hand, but the gunman was able to fatally shoot them. The family members have identified them as Boris and Sophia Gurman, both in their 60s. Relatives say that while nothing can lessen the pain of their loss, they feel immense pride in their courage and humanity.
And the son of director Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner will be charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the stabbing deaths of his parents.
The L.A. County District Attorney made the announcement today. If convicted, Nick Reiner could face life in prison. 32-year-old Reiner did not make it to court today, with his lawyer citing an undisclosed medical issue. He was arrested several hours after his parents were found dead in their Los Angeles home on Sunday. Police haven't said anything about a motive for the killings. And the Trump administration expanding its travel ban to include 5 more countries and impose new limits on others.
The move is part of ongoing efforts to tighten U.S. entry standards for travel and immigration. It follows the arrest of an Afghan national and the shooting of 2 National Guard troops last month. In June, President Trump announced citizens of 12 countries would be banned from visiting the U.S. and those from 7 others would face restrictions. Well, today, the administration announced it was adding Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan, and Syria.
And a federal policy aimed at supporting Canadian industries that have been hit hard by this trade war with the U.S. went into effect today.
The Buy Canadian strategy requires wood, steel, and aluminum products manufactured or processed in Canada be used in construction and defense projects. The first phase of the initiative also requires federal procurement contracts for $25 million or more to prioritize Canadian businesses and materials. Ottawa says that the policy puts Canadian workers first and will help maintain strong Canadian supply chains. And Stellantis says it has hired more than 1,000 people for the planned third shift at its Windsor assembly plant.
Yeah, aside from the new hires, about 250 workers are transferring from the Stellantis plant in Brampton. The company is planning to hire 1,500 people for the third shift, which is expected to be in place early next year.
What that means in all this, because they moved production of their Jeep down to the States in the middle of everything, and the Melanie Joly, an industry minister, was saying, well, they're not going to do it without us fighting it. So all this, there's court threats, legal action. So if this is a response to try and ease some of the anger and concerns up here, that maybe they will end up retooling and doing something else here. We're learning details on it slowly, but it's been a whole interesting thing. It's amazing because they got funding from the government, they got tax breaks, all these things.
The shift is being added to meet demand for models of the Dodge Charger and Chrysler minivans.
It's 5:21 right now. Feels like -8 watching live at 5.
And coming up, the province has revealed the list of the most popular baby names. One name topping the list for the 16th year in a row. Well, the trailer for the second part of Stranger Things Season 5, it's out.
This whole time, everything we have ever assumed about the Upside Down has been dead wrong.
Volume 2 premieres on Christmas Day with 3 episodes. The latest trailer shows the heroes racing against the clock to unravel Hawkins' darkest secrets and Vecna creeping in to declare it's time for a new world. Following those 3 episodes, there will be an epic ending with the finale airing on New Year's Eve. I still haven't seen Volume 1. I have no time.
Yeah, that's big. Probably the reason why you have no time. Let's see. The province is out with its list of most popular baby names, and it's no surprise which ones took top spots.
Yeah, we got a couple babies in our house now. Olivia was the #1 name for girls in Ontario in 2024. It is the 16th straight year that it was the most popular choice. Charlotte and Sophia rounded the top 3. I think I know 5 of those humans just walking around. When it comes to boys, Noah took 6th place for the 6th straight year in a row. Liam, it's at every playground, came in 2nd. Theodore took 3rd spot. Not a lot of Theodores out there.
Well, I mean, they're a little bit too young now, but when they get older, this Canada Post says kids who wrote to Santa with their wish list, they will get a response this year.
Oh, snap. Well, maybe they can send like a handprint or something. We'll see. A month-long strike by 55,000 postal workers last year. Man, jolly old St. Nick couldn't respond to letters, but kids were assured he would read each one. Canada Post says all letters that were mailed by December 8th and it contained the HOHOHO postal
You know that's
code.
ho, 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 right?
I know, but I just want to make sure, I don't want people to think I'm just like making it up.
Right.
It's HO, write it out. While Canada Post can't confirm exact delivery dates, should be before Christmas, a spokesperson says Santa will respond to each letter.
Well, speaking of, Vaughn is showing its support for the CP24 Chum Christmas Wish.
Yeah, they want to be on the nice list. Bags filled with hundreds of toys were brought to Vaughan City Hall today and laid at the base of the Christmas tree in the foyer. They were then loaded onto a truck and taken to a warehouse. They'll eventually be distributed to hundreds of kids, giving families in need a taste of Christmas.
You can play Santa, right? It's a great, and it doesn't have to be a lot of toys. It can be one toy, but you get to be that role. What a great feeling, right? So, and the end result is another great feeling. So it's just great all the way around. It's a warm feeling, especially this time of year, right?
I've just kind of been here for moral support, and I love watching it and doing it with my dad because obviously it's nice to wake up on Christmas morning and have a toy, and what he does is so fantastic. So I'm just happy to be even a little bit a part of it.
I've been so blessed throughout my life. I've never been in a position to be in that kind of need, and that is something that I don't take for granted. But I know, having also had the chance through the years to meet individuals that need that hand up, needed that little bit of help, for a young person, a young boy or a girl, to be able to wake up on Christmas morning and again know that there is a broader community of support and generosity around them, despite how difficult it might be for them and for their families the rest of the year at Christmas time. And look, I really hope year-round we are able to help support those, but to know that they're loved, to know that they're respected, to know that there is that ecosystem or that community of support around them, I think is so, so special.
And the CP24 Chum Christmas Wish is trying to raise $700,000 this year. To date, nearly $440,000 has been raised.
Well, the city has announced its plans for bringing in the new year in just over 2 weeks from now.
Toronto's New Year's Eve celebration will include midnight fireworks along the waterfront. The display in the inner harbor will be synchronized to music, and there's going to be designated viewing areas along Queens Quay. Along with the fireworks, there will be music performances, skating, and food offerings at Harborfront Center. And across the waterfront, there's going to be DJ sets and pop-up performances on New Year's Eve.
That sounds like fun. Okay, it's 5:28, feels like -8. You're watching Live at 5.
And we're live on Thorncliffe Park Drive tonight. This is where a fire that's been burning at 2 condo buildings, it's out, but residents still don't know when they're going to be able to return home.
Speeding up the new Finch West LRT, City Council approves a motion that in their last meeting of the year to give Line 6 signal priority.
The fire that's been burning for more than 2 weeks at 2 condo buildings in Thorncliffe Park. It's out, but residents still don't know when they're going to be able to return home, if for the holidays.
And the Toronto Tempo unveiling the jerseys for Canada's first WNBA team, set to make its league debut next year.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening, I'm Phil Perkins.
I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. At Toronto City Council's meeting for the last time this year, transit, that is the top priority item on the agenda.
Yeah, councillors have voted to speed up the new Finch West LRT. CP24's Arda Zakarian live from City Hall. And yeah, they had to figure this out literally quickly, Arda, because people have been pretty fed up.
Yes, this was a real problem. The Finch West LRT opened about a week and a half ago. So much excitement, anticipation, the answer to congestion problems in that area. And then it went off to a very slow start, too slow for anyone's liking. People anecdotally said that the buses that were along the same line were going faster than the LRT was. Even people would run faster than the Finch West LRT. Of course, this is not the intended speed. The intended speed was actually 32 minutes from end to end. So that's how fast it was supposed to go. So in order to be able to speed things up, Mayor Olivia Chow put forth a motion today asking for signal priority, not only for the Finch West LRT, but also for the Eglinton Crosstown LRT, making sure the mistakes that have happened with the Finch West LRT aren't repeated when the Eglinton Crosstown LRT opens up sometime in the near future, which is hopefully within the next few months, early in the next year, that will also open up. So here's more from some city councillors.
I think the line is great. I think it's great for riders day in and day out. It's comfortable, it's predictable. The vehicles look amazing. It has transformed Finch Avenue. They're uplifting. The whole project has given the community a lift up. It's better connected us with the rest of the city, and people are going to discover that. And yes, we're going to continue to prod and push the TTC to make it go faster, to get it down to that 32, 33 minutes that we were originally promised.
The whole point of spending billions and billions of dollars and putting everyone through all the construction is to make transit riders' life better. And these LRTs can do that, but not until the transit priority is working and the rules are working and the rules for the how many times long you wait at the stops. What have they been doing all this time that they didn't figure this out? They've got to get it right before we open Eglinton.
Okay, to that point, what did they...
Councillor Brad Bradford wanted to take things one level further. He said, we need a money-back guarantee. If the TTC is late 15 minutes or more, then customers should get their money back. He says other cities do that and it's worked. It gives the TTC accountability. However, some city councillors are saying, hey, let's just make sure the system works well in the first place. Let's put our money there instead. This is the last time that city councillors are meeting before the winter break today. The session continues tomorrow as well. So lots to cover before the holidays. Back to you.
All right, live from City Hall, CP24's Artis Zakarian. Cycling advocates, they're urging City Council to embrace a bike lane network plan they call a win-win solution.
Well, staff are recommending a plan that would build over 20 kilometers of new bike lanes, including on Trethewey Drive, Rathburn Road, and Kingston Road. None of the proposed bike lanes would require removing a lane for cars, and this is in compliance with the provincial legislation. Now, city staff says that for the most part, this will be accomplished by narrowing some lanes and removing some on-street parking. Advocates say the plan would make city streets safer.
We need a safer corridor through Scarborough, and this really represents a spine of connectivity in the suburbs. The reality is that while we need a car for some trips, we can get to grocery stores and other essential businesses within a few minutes biking. This also creates a really safe corridor for people outside of cars, taking transit, walking, even just crossing the street.
We look at the facts here, and again, this is the government's own experts. So we found out as part of our legal challenge that the government's own experts basically said that bike lanes reduce traffic collisions for all road users, not just cyclists, by 50%. So when you add protected bike lanes, it makes things safer for all road users. And so even just putting these bike lanes down on Kingston Road will actually make things safer. There have been a lot of pedestrian collisions, some very should have been avoidable fatalities, and adding these bike lanes will help make things safer.
Well, the total cost of the plan, which also includes other road safety improvements, is around $30 million.
Well, the pedestrian's in critical condition after being hit by a vehicle in Mississauga.
Peel police say a tow truck struck a man near Dixie and Rathburn around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Officers say the man is in his 50s, has life-threatening injuries. The driver stayed on scene. That investigation is ongoing.
Well, the shelter fire that forced residents out of 2 Thorncliffe Park condo buildings. It's now out, but there's still no timeline for when they can go back home.
Yeah, CP24's Sija Liu has the latest after an update from city officials today. Sija.
Phil Bakari, it's going to be a long road to recovery, but we did get a positive update from fire officials today. After 17 days, they have finally extinguished the fire that's been burning inside the walls of these two buildings. They have called this the most complex fire in the history of Toronto, given the location of the fire burning in between the walls. But we're learning today some of the units have suffered substantial damage, and residents who live here still don't know when they can return home. And because of the location of this fire, fire crews had to cut open some of the units, drill into the walls, so when people do return homes, some of their homes will certainly look a lot different than how they left it. Now that the fire has been put out, the attention is on getting people back home. Again, we don't have a clear timeline on when the hundreds of people will be able to return home, but this will be a phased approach. Over 400 units were evacuated. 239 people have been staying in hotel rooms, getting support from the Canadian Red Cross. But we're being told that when they do return home, it will be a phased approach. People can't return all at once. Right now, the property has been turned over to the property manager. Engineers are on site assessing the situation, making sure the air is safe, there is no more smoke exposure, that fire alarms are in place. Here's the latest from Toronto's fire chief, along with a building city official.
While firefighting suppression operations are complete, Toronto Fire Services will maintain a presence at the property as we continue to support the ongoing efforts to prepare the site for reoccupancy, including the restoration of fire and life safety systems. Throughout this response, our top priority has been the safety of residents. Again, we recognize how difficult this situation has been, especially the time away from their homes. We sincerely appreciate their patience, resilience, and cooperation shown by the residents and the community.
Now that fire operations have concluded, the buildings are being turned over back to the property management companies who are responsible for hiring third-party engineers to conduct a full assessment of the building to determine when and how individual units can safely be occupied. However, I must state that there still is a great deal of work required to make the buildings safe for reoccupancy.
As you heard from the city official there, still a great deal of work, so we don't have a specific time on when the hundreds of people who live inside this building will be able to go home. And at this moment, we still have fire officials on site, along with engineers who are doing fire wash and just checking for structural damage in the building. And one more thing that they're looking into as well still is the cause and origin of the fire. Phil and Bakari, we still don't know what exactly started this stubborn fire. I'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you very much. CJ Liu live in North York. It is 5:39. Feels like -8. You're watching Live at 5.
Well, up next, hospitals are reporting a serious rise in flu cases in Ontario. We're going to hear from an infectious disease specialist about how to protect yourself. That's next. Hospitals are reporting a serious rise in influenza across the province.
The Ontario Hospital Association says while COVID and RSV cases, they are fairly stable, influenza cases are up significantly. In Eastern Ontario, the flu is being blamed for the deaths of 3 children this month. The Hospital Association is joining medical officers of health and urging people to get their flu shot as soon as possible. We caught up with infectious disease specialist Dr. Isaac Bogosh and talked about how the flu is actually more dangerous than people think.
We have seen some messaging from senior public health leadership really reinforcing the need to get a flu shot. It's always good to get a flu shot every year, but this year it's especially important to get the flu shot. Briefly, the drivers for a more severe flu season this year is the dominant strain of flu is H3N2. And we know that years that are H3N2 dominant, we see at a population level more severe flu and busier hospitals. But of course, any flu can be severe at an individual level. And the other reason, too, is the vaccine this year, while still providing some protection, doesn't provide the same degree of protection that we would like. But it still provides some protection. That's the take-home point.
Health officials say that the early spike in cases comes at the worst time as hospitals are already overwhelmed with tighter staffing over the holidays.
Well, as 2025 comes to a closeout, we're looking back on the year that was.
It was an eventful one for the Ontario Liberal Party, which regained party status after a snap provincial election, but lost its leader. Bonnie Crombie stepped down after receiving just 57% support in a leadership review in September. Interim leader John Fraser joined CP24 to reflect on the year and talk about what's next for the party. He says he will not be running for the leadership.
We don't need a savior. We need a grinder. It's 4 to 7 years of hard work. You got to go to Thunder Bay, not just once, but 6 times, and Windsor and all sorts of places across the province. Ontario is a big province. Just someone who's going to work hard. And remember, it's not about one of us. It's about all of us.
Well, the Ontario Liberals have not yet set a date for their leadership convention.
And the head of the Bank of Canada is looking to a new frontier for digital currencies.
But Governor Tiff Macklem told the business crowd in Montreal that one thing that won't be changing is the central bank's 2% inflation target. He affirmed the bank's commitment to keeping inflation low and preserving the value of money. He also says the Bank of Canada will be regulating emerging digital currencies as Ottawa lays out a framework for stable coins.
The U.S. Genius Act created a legislative framework for stablecoins and opened the door to their broader use in global payments. And the industry is keen to deliver. It's important for Canada to have its own regulatory framework for stablecoins. And in the federal budget last month, the government announced it will do just that, with the Bank of Canada as regulator. We want stablecoins to be good money, like banknotes or deposits at banks.
And the value of stable coins is typically less volatile than that of fluctuating digital assets like Bitcoin. But Macklem says it's not clear how much of a role they're going to play in the future of money.
It's 5:44, feels like -8. You're watching Toronto's breaking news. CP24, Live at 5 edition.
Well, Director Rob Reiner's son, Nick, is being charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the stabbing deaths of his parents. The son of director Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner will be charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the stabbing deaths of his parents.
Yeah, Los Angeles County District Attorney made the announcement today. They have convicted Nick Reiner could face life in prison. 32-year-old Reiner did not make it to court today with his lawyer citing an undisclosed medical issue. He was arrested several hours after his parents were found dead in their LA home on Sunday. Police haven't said anything about a motive. And Canada's spy agency says it sees no indication of a specific threat on Canadian soil following the mass shooting at a Hanukkah celebration in Australia, but also says they can't be ruled out as of yet.
An intelligence brief prepared by the Integrated Threat Assessment Center says there's a realistic possibility of a violent extremist attack taking place in Canada, including one targeting the Jewish community. The briefing says that the agency cannot discount the possibility of violence from a lone actor or small group, which could happen with little or no warning.
People returned to Bondi Beach in Australia to pay tribute to the 15 people killed in the mass shooting on Sunday. More than 1,000 people gathered outside Bondi Pavilion for the second night of Hanukkah. There were 25 people still in hospital after the massacre, 10 of them still in critical condition.
Police have taped off the house of the 2 suspected gunmen in the attack. The father and son, they were both shot by police. The 50-year-old father died at the scene. His 24-year-old son is still in a coma in hospital. Australia's Prime Minister and police say early investigations suggest that the mass shooting was inspired by Islamic State ideology. One of the suspected shooters had previously been investigated by Australia's main domestic spy agency.
And another story of heroism that has emerged from the terror from Bondi Beach, but this one had a tragic end. This video shows a couple confronting one of the gunmen during the attack. The man tackled him and both fell onto the ground. The man managed to wrestle the gun from the shooter's hand, but the gunman was still able to shoot him. Family members have identified them as Boris and Sophia Gurman, both in their 60s. Relatives say that while nothing can lessen the pain of their loss, they do feel immense pride in their courage and humanity.
It's 5:50, -3. This is Live at 5.
Well, the Toronto Tempo have unveiled the jerseys for Canada's first WNBA team set to make its debut next year. We'll break them down, give you our thoughts.
The Toronto Tempo unveiling their debut jerseys at the Eden Centre this afternoon.
3, 2, 1.
The big reveal happening outside the Sephora store. One of the team's founding sponsors, it showcases the Bordeaux jersey, which has Toronto on the front. The alternate white jersey has Tempo on the front instead. So the jerseys feature 6 speed lines, which represent each of Toronto's 6 boroughs. The jerseys go on sale in January.
And before today's event, CP24 Breakfast got the first look at the new jerseys right here in the studio. Team president Teresa Resch talked about how important the milestone is for the team.
It's about more than just Toronto, right? Yeah. It's 6 boroughs. Yeah. We love the speed lines down the side. Mm-hmm. Oh, look how good those look. And it really speaks to the tempo, right? So it's fast and it's slow. Yeah. And it also is, there's 6. So yes, the 6 boroughs of Toronto, but also like the 5 players on the court and the 6th line to really represent all of our fans and the people that follow us. So we have this version, but then also special delivery.
Oh, a special delivery. Here we go.
Oh. This is our heroine version. So white, and also it says Tempo versus Toronto. Very excited to showcase both of these today for you guys.
And for a closer look on this and her own personal review, TSN reporter Ashley Docking, but not just a reporter, former Seneca Sting great, CCAA All-Canadian Ashley, former Hooper. Yeah. Can you see yourself rocking this jersey?
Yes, of course. Oh my gosh, guys. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I feel like this is such a major moment for the franchise because everything that we've seen so far has been a graphic or an AI generated something. And so to have something that's going to be tangible for fans to look at, although the one that we saw at Eaton Center was supersized, I think it kind of changes things and knocks us back into reality.
Okay, so along with that, we have the jerseys right here that have been unveiled. Ashley, you have on some Tempo swag. How'd you get that?
This was a gift from my friends at the Peace Collective, so shout out Catherine. I think that everyone has been trying to get a hand on some of their merchandise, and so when these jerseys go on sale in January, they are going to fly off the shelf. One of the things, you guys, that I loved so much about them, particularly the Bordeaux one, is that I feel as though they really kept it in mind that people are going to want to style this outside just wearing it to the arena, outside of just wearing it to the game. Those speed lines kind of give you a little bit of shape, the way they curve in on the front, very much keeping the girls in mind. And I think it's just a really, really nice color that you can dress up, dress down. Do I wish the white heroine version had a little bit more of that borealis blue that I love? Absolutely. But I think with everything that the Tempo have been doing, this is just such a huge win for them. It's classic. It's their first ever jersey. They didn't want to do too much off the mark of some of their more traditional marketing. And I think that this is something that fans are really excited about.
Yeah, I didn't even realize about the borealis, but I thought it was just straight white. So I thought, St. Mary's Huskies want a word here, but when you see it as a little bit of blue as well, it actually enhances the whole thing. So I got to ask, actually, they started with the the merch. It's going to be flying off the shelves soon, and then they actually start playing basketball. What do you got? How do you feel about how they're unraveling this team and it's kind of taking shape before our eyes before the actual first game?
Well, I think between the kind of bungle with the name launch, of course, that was spoiled. Then they changed things around and they had Monica Wright-Rogers come in as the GM, and then they got Sandy Brondello as the head coach. And so they've really stepped it up time and time again. And now this unveiling is giving you something to kind of lick your chops about, because until the CBA is ratified, there's no team. There's no expansion draft. There's no WNBA draft. There's nothing. And so they're kind of breadcrumbing us in a positive way, because fans are just super excited for any piece of the Tempo that they can get their hands on. This hopefully tides you over the holiday season and into the new year, when hopefully things are more underway in the WNBA, because the team as a whole, in terms of the organization, they're sitting there tapping their feet. They can't make as many moves or do as much as they would like to do because of what's going on with the WNBA CBA. So hopefully we avoid a lockout and Toronto basketball fans can get their Tempo ASAP.
All right, TSN reporter Ashley Docking, thanks a lot. And the Raptors 905 continue their record-breaking season.
Roddy, the look away to Sarr and Diallo.
The team undefeated, 126-99 win over the Westchester Knicks. That extends their winning streak to 14 games. That's the best start in G-League history. They get a bit of a break for the holidays. They're off until December 27th when they host the Maine Celtics at Paramount Fine Foods Center.
Okay, the Leafs, they host the Chicago Blackhawks tonight, and they're going to honor a special part of the team's history.
Holy Mackinac! Holy Mackinac!
Yeah, tonight will be, you probably guessed it, Holy Mackinac Night at Scotiabank Arena to honor the team's legendary play-by-play announcer, Joe Bowen. After more than 4 decades of calling Leafs games, Bowen is retiring at the end of the season.
Just driving to and from the rink from hockey practice when I was a young guy and we couldn't watch the Leafs game, my dad would throw it on the radio, and he just really brought the game to life. So I made memories with my dad and me in the car just that much more special, being able to, listen to Joe, and you didn't really need the TV in front of you when Joe was announcing because he made it feel like you were there. So just personally, those are the great memories that I have with him, and getting to know him on a personal level. He's just an awesome guy.
He's one of one. Doesn't try to be anyone else, and he's authentic self, and it's great. He's a fantastic human being, and obviously fantastic at what he does. So we're lucky to have him around here, and on the personal side, he's a ball of energy, so it's great to see.
I think even before you even recognize who he was, you just know that voice carries so much weight, has such a good sound, and you know that's one for the Leafs and one that he's had for a long time.
It's 5:59, -3, feeling like -8. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
Well, there's a live look at Nathan Phillips Square, where the menorah will be lit shortly to mark the 3rd night of Hanukkah. Thanks for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.